What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and tonight I wanted to discuss the Rainier Classic Pro-Am, the inaugural 2021 Rainier Classic Pro-Am, the Washington State's first Pro-Am, in fact, that happened today. All kinds of action from 8 a.m. Pacific time to about 5 p.m. Pacific time. So all kinds of action happening there. And you had the amateur classes in 3 different weight classes. You had the pros as well, both men and women, and so much great stuff to catch up on there. So let's have a look at what the results were today and walk through what actually happened during the Rainier Classic Pro-Am. So we start off with the amateur lightweight women. And so their first event was an Axel clean and press away, 120 pounds for this class. And you had first place, a tie between Jessica Wong Mariki and Tasha Whalen. 13 reps on the 120-pound Axel press. Very impressive there. We then move on to the Axel deadlift medley. And so that Axel deadlift medley was won by Tasha Whalen. First place there as well, picking up 4 points. We then went to a sandbag throw for distance. And so I actually didn't get a chance to see this portion of the contest since it was an all-day contest, but 24.41 feet, I'm assuming, would make the most sense there. And Tasha Whalen takes first place again there, so moving on to a total of 11.5 points. You then move on to the Yolk keg sandbag medley, and this one I saw, and this was very, very interesting because the way that they did it, which I thought was so cool, was you had to carry the yoke for a particular distance out, turn around, carry it back to the starting position, and then the yoke becomes the bar over which you then run to the opposite furthest end of the course to retrieve the keg, bring it back, put it over bar, which is the yoke you just used, and then run back, pick up the sandbag, and bring it back and put it over bar for the yoke that you just used. So I thought that was ingenuity at its finest, putting that yoke to multiple uses throughout the contest. A lot of competitors couldn't get, they struggled by the time they got to the sandbag portion, couldn't get it up over the bar. Some even struggled with the keg. And a lot of them, funny enough, got so close, had it halfway over and would drop it and kind of were winded at that point. So very interesting to watch there. But again, first place goes to Tasha Whalen there again on that particular medley. So she seemed to really be taken over today. You then move over to Trump Stone over bar for reps. And first place there, it becomes a tie at 4 reps. There apparently was a light stone and a heavy stone. And so there were 4 reps on the heavy stone, both by Elena Unruh and Jessica Wong Mariki taking first place there. Tasha Whalen takes 3rd and Christy Brown takes 4th there. And so then that puts the overall placing. Tasha Whalen takes the amateur lightweight women's class, 2nd place to Jessica Wong Mariki, 3rd to Elena Unruh, and 4th to Christy Brown. We then move on to the amateur middleweight women. And so here, again, same events, but different weights. And so as you walk through these, first place in the Axel clean and press away went to Maggie Katerlich. And then moving on to the Axel deadlift medley, first place, Jessica Pokorski. Moving on to the sandbag throw for distance, Maggie Katerlich again takes first place there, with Amelia Elizabeth Watts coming in 2nd, picking up 5 points. And then that Yolk keg sandbag medley that I like so much, first place again to Jessica Pokorski here, with 2nd place to Amelia Watts and 3rd place to Maggie Katerlich. So it seemed like they were kind of dominating everything up until that point. First place then goes to Jessica Pokorski again for the Trump Stone over bar for reps. She puts out 4 reps on the heavy stone, and then 2nd place with 1 rep of the heavy stone with Maggie Katerlich there again. So I'm starting to see a theme here. And of course, the final standings in this weight class, Jessica Pokorski wins it. Maggie Katerlich 2nd, Amelia Watts 3rd, Vanessa Garris 4th, Gabrielle Abbott 5th, and Nikki Myers comes in 6th. We then move on to the amateur heavyweight women, and we had 3 competitors here. So then taking a look at the Axel clean and press away, we're now up to 180-pound Axel, so getting some serious weight here. First place goes to Cassandra Catlett, and she gets 5 reps on that Axel. Second place goes to Caroline Freinfeld, and she gets 2 reps on the Axel, with Adriana Seiler zeroing that particular event. Moving on to the Axel Deadlift Medley, first place goes to Cassandra Catlett again, and zeros by both of the other competitors on the deadlift. Deadlift was looked fairly heavy for a lot of the competitors. Sandbag throw for distance, first place goes to Cassandra Catlett again, second to Caroline Friedenfeld, and third place to Adriana Seiler. And then we move on to that Yolk keg sandbag, and again, first place, Cassandra Catlett again, starting to put together a pattern here of doing very well on a lot of these events. Second place to Caroline Friedenfeld, and third place to Adriana Seiler. Then we go to Trump Stone over Bar, final event, and again, Cassandra takes first place there, zeros by the other 2 competitors, and Cassandra ends up with first place, Caroline Friedenfeld in second, and Adriana Seiler in third place. We then move on to the amateur lightweight men. And the amateur lightweight men had 3 competitors. So we go to the Axel clean and press away, and that was taken by Robert Leslie, with CJ Krause coming in second. Third place going to Andy Anderson. And Andy, I believe, I think I saw the podium. I believe Andy, he had the long kind of ponytail, came in, showed him on the podium. Yeah, third on the podium. So obviously 3 competitors, everyone's going to make the podium. But this was the podium where I think the women actually had their podium before and had like a really energetic sort of podium photo ops. And so they were saying, like, what are the guys going to do next? So they all took their shirts off and they were flexing. So I believe that was this podium. And that was pretty cool to watch, fun to watch. So moving on to the Axel Deadlift Medley, we had CJ Krause taking that one with 5 reps. And then Andy Anderson second place there. And Robert Leslie in third place there with 2 reps. Then we go to sandbag throw for distance, and that one is taken by Robert Leslie. First place is distance 29.5. Again, I'm imagining that's feet. I did miss this particular event. Second place goes to CJ Krause there with 27 3/4 feet, and third place 24.08 feet to Andy Anderson. That Yolk keg sandbag medley that I love so much is taken by CJ Krause in this class. Second place goes to Robert K. Leslie. Third to Andy Anderson. And of course, we go to the Trump Stone over Bar for reps, and that is taken by CJ Krause with 2 reps. 1 rep goes to Robert Leslie, and Andy Anderson zeros that event. So that is the amateur lightweight men. Then we go to amateur middleweight men, and we do have Logically Built in the comments. So let's see. What's up, Logically Built? I was a lane lead, just got back from the show. It was amazing. It looked amazing. It looked like there was just a lot of action going on. I was wondering, Logically Built, if you were there. I know Rob Kearney had an affiliation there. He had like a workshop going on ahead of time. Was he a judge as well? I'd just be interested to hear kind of what his input was to the show, and if you got to meet him, I bet that was super cool. So let us know any kind of insider knowledge like that you might know. I think all the audience would love to see that. So moving back to the middleweight men. Sorry. Seems like my spreadsheet is frozen. Look at that. All right, let's refresh it and see what happens. Interesting. It's actually frozen. It does not let us see the heavier weights, which it did just before I got online. So that's really interesting. Okay, now it did. Well, let's take a look at the pros, because that's the tab that it's letting me look at. The one thing that I found really interesting about the pros is if any of you saw what was originally posted for the pro athletes, both men and women, the lineup today was significantly different. So I wonder why that was, and why. So it was a fair number of athletes who, I don't know if they decided to pull out or injuries happened or what happened, but the lineup was fairly different. So if you look at the women's pro athlete lineup here, for example, Corey Butler was there. She competed. But I'll pick out some like Gabrielle Bergholzer, who's one of my favorites. I did not see her on the lineup for today. Victoria Long, as you'll see, ended up winning it. So kudos to her. Great job there. Jessica Fithen, another one of my big favorites. I did not see competing there today. Haley Randall, same thing. I actually had Jessica Fithen Haley Randall and Lauren Wells all on my show at the same time. We did a live stream with them. If you haven't caught that one yet, go check it out. It was a barrel laughs. They're all awesome, sweet ladies, and so funny. We had such a good time. And I didn't see any of the three of them compete today, so I'm not sure what happened there. Sam Beliveau did not compete, and kind of would make sense as well. Maxine Boudreau did not compete. There are a couple. Who else from this list? Monica Johnson didn't compete. And unfortunately, her mother passed very recently. I saw she posted about that. So, of course, our deepest condolences go out to Monica Johnson, especially having the strength to still compete today. But, our hearts go out to you. Our condolences go out to you. And great job today for sure. So that's the women. And then if we look at the men's list, the original list, not today's list, Josh Hatfield did compete, but he competes out of this gym, so it was always very likely that he would compete. He did very well, actually. But guys like Kevin Ferris, I didn't see him on the list. Wes Claiborne wasn't on today's list. Trey Mitchell wasn't. All guys that, of course, all of these are in that category as well. But those particular three guys, I think, would excite a lot of the audience members to really want to see compete. And, maybe... I don't know, maybe getting ready for the Shaw Classic took precedence. I don't know, but I didn't see them. JF Caron likely still healing from his hamstring injury, so that's likely why he didn't compete. Max Boudreau actually mentioned to me some time ago that he was not planning on competing anymore, maybe because he's getting ready for the Shaw Classic, just a guess. But again, that's half of this lineup that I didn't see on today's lineup. So it's very interesting, I found, to look at the different groups that did not compete today. So of the ones who did compete, we'll take a look at the pro women. And so taking a look at the Axel Clean and Press Away, that was won by Inez Carrasquillo, who ended up in second place overall. So she did awesome. Really, really great performance on her part. Kim Dursk was second in the Axel Clean and Press Away with 11 reps. So big reps here on this particular event, 220-pound Axel in this weight class. And third place went to Victoria Long, the eventual overall winner of this contest. Then you went to the Axel Deadlift Medley. And on this medley, the placings were Victoria Long took this event. Second place went to another favorite of mine. If you haven't watched my interview with Nadia Stowers, such a sweetheart, such a good time we had together. Such a great rapport. I thought we had a great give and take, and had some technical issues on that particular interview, and she was very understanding. So if you haven't checked out my interview with Nadia Stowers, you should. You will learn a ton about her background and accomplishments that you don't necessarily know, and you should definitely check it out. While we're at it, if you like what you're hearing on this stream and haven't hit that like button yet, please go ahead and do so. It does help YouTube, help me, helps them, help me. And also, if you like what you're listening to and you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We'd really do appreciate that. You'll get the little bell notification. Hit the bell, click all, and that'll let you know whenever more great content will be released. Either if it's for contests like this, I cover a lot of Giants Live stuff. I do a lot of athlete interviews you might like, a lot of that stuff. So third place went to Gabby Dixon in the Axel Deadlift Medley, and we had 9 competitors here altogether. Sandbag throw for distance was won by Gabby Dixon, second place going to Inez Carrasquillo, and third place to Victoria Long. The Yolk Keg Sandbag Medley was won by Victoria Long. So again, creating a pattern here of winning quite a few different things. Second place going to Inez Carrasquillo, and third place to Gabby Dixon. So Gabby doing very well in a lot of these events as well. And so the weights, by the way, in this particular class for the Yolk Keg Sandbag Medley are 600-pound yoke. So no joke. That yoke is no joke. 250-pound keg and a 230-pound sandbag. And as I mentioned, the yoke is 2 lengths out and back to the original position. Then you run back this way, grab the keg, bring it over the bar of the yoke, back that way, grab the sandbag, bring it back to the yoke, over the bar of the yoke, the crossbar of the yoke. So very interesting to watch there. Trump Stone over bar for reps was won by Victoria Long. So second place going to Inez Carrasquillo. And then we had third place here going to Monica Johnson, another one of my favorites. I haven't had her on my show yet, but plan on it soon whenever she's ready. She's definitely welcome. I first saw her on Instagram as a big deadlifter, but then at Savage Strength Pro-Am, Christina Bangma's show, Monica won her weight class prove that day that she's well-rounded and isn't just a deadlifter. She's good at everything. So definitely keep your eye out for her. And so, of course, as I mentioned a few times, the overall standings ended up being Victoria Long taking the women's pro-am with Inez Carrasquillo in second, Nadia Stowers in third, and Gabby Dixon fourth, Kim Dirks fifth, Jody Kennedy sixth, tied with Monica Johnson in sixth, and Corey Butler in eighth, and Rachel Bennett in ninth. So the one lesson I took away from here is that I only was following about half of these women, and I need to be following all of them because they all had really, really great performances. And like Corey Butler, for example, has been on my show before. She was a great interview. You should check that one out if you haven't yet. But some of these women I have not had, like Rachel Bennett and Kim Dirks, and for example, and Gabby Dixon, I'm definitely a fan now, and I'm going to learn more about them and try to get them on the show if I can. So that being said, let's see if we can take a look at the pro men. Yeah, it seems the spreadsheet seems not to be working for all the tabs right now. So that's very interesting. I do remember that Josh Hatfield, I believe, came in second. So we'll have to go from memory there. But again, my biggest takeaway was just how many people from the original list were missing. And again, for anybody that was there that has any insider knowledge and you want to share that, please go ahead and do so. World's Strongest Blacksmith, what's up, buddy? I was watching your video earlier about your forging of pulls. If anybody has not watched World's Strongest Blacksmith's YouTube channel or his Instagram, you should follow him in both places. He is strong and he is a great blacksmith as well. And he's been making some videos lately about creating things through the forging process and kind of walking you through the whole process. And it's really, really interesting to watch. So you definitely should check him out in both places, Instagram and YouTube for sure, World's Strongest Blacksmith. So Logically Built says, no, Rob was just the MC. Also, I train at the gym, so I talk to him all the time. Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. You train at that gym, so you must talk to Josh Hatfield all the time too. He was on my show as well. That was another really good interview. I really enjoyed talking with him, and he told me that he works out of that gym as well. So that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know Rob frequented that gym, but he's a great MC. Very hard to find a better choice than Rob Kearney as an MC. He did a great job at Clash on the Coast, and I'm sure did a great job here as well. So very, very, very interesting. So yeah, that being said, I just wanted to jump on here, show you all the results, tell you how exciting it was to watch the live stream. Another big credit I should give to Dungeon RX is the live stream was free. So it was a whole day from 8 a.m. Pacific time until 5 p.m. Pacific time, a whole day of action for free. So yeah, that's hard to find these days. Big kudos to them to having a live stream at all, because a lot of shows don't even have one at all, and secondly, making it free. So I did want to get on this evening, give you the results, and where's the live stream, World's Strongest Blacksmith? Let's share that for you and show you. So I don't know if the whole show is still there, but they do have clips. So if you go here, facebook.com/dungeonstrength.rx/ref equals page internal. I'll send it to you. We DM each other, so I'll send it to you right after this. But they have a bunch of the clips here. So for example, this is kind of the setup for the Axel clean and press away. So this is what we were watching this morning. The one other cool thing is they had this semi truck with 15 hay bales on it, holding up all the banners. So a pretty cool aesthetic there. A little different than having like a traditional cabin trailer. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then if you scroll up here, you'll see like this is where I got the results from. So they posted the live scores. And then they had, here's what some of the events look like. So let me pop that out. Maybe you can see it a little bigger. So here are some of the competitors competing in the clean and press away. And as you can see, my comment in there, I said I just saw a Higa monster. So I'm pretty sure I saw Grand Higa walking around there, helping out all of the competitors, resetting the weights and whatnot, bringing the kegs back to where they should be. And here, so let's forward a little bit. So here you can kind of see, and they had 3 going on at once for the most part. So you'll see one, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but one in the near field here, one sort of in the middle, and then one back here. So they had 3 going on at one time. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. So then if we minimize that, when you scroll up, and you should be able to see other events as well. I believe that this is the deadlift. So let's expand this one. You can take a look here, and I'll move it to the middle. Again, it's over. It's not live anymore, but you should be able to still watch some of the competitors competing here. Okay, so let's have a look at this deadlift. And again, here you have some of the staff kind of in the way, but there's a competitor in the middle here. Okay. Um, and so it looks like it reminds me of the Axel deathlift at the at WUS this year. Well, the way it was originally supposed to be at WUS, where you loaded your own weights. Of course, there was the whole debacle with Ivar Schmuckstellis, where he was trying to load his own weights, and then the helpers did it for him, and there was confusion and whatnot. But yeah, so this looks like what the original intention at WUS Bahrain was. Interesting. So it looks like one of the competitors didn't go with the figure eight straps to start, and then threw them on. Interesting. Interesting. Kind of changing on the spur of the moment in a timed event. That's pretty cool. And then here we can see the yoke. So I thought the yoke it looked heavy. Some of the competitors had some trouble with the yoke. I didn't see a lot of them. Like this one right here was a great yoke walk. A lot of them didn't do it in one go. Like they paused. You see this competitor in the middle. A lot of them did have to pause. So here comes the keg. If you look on the right side, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but on the right side, you'll see the keg portion where she's now gone back the other way, retrieved the keg. She threw her belt off there. Needed it for stability on the yoke, not necessarily for the keg. And keg is going to go over bar of the yoke. And then for the competitors that were able to complete that, run back again, all the way back and grab a sandbag. Okay. So Tyler, there's your answer. Like it seems to be all here. It's just broken up in pieces. They kind of had little lulls in between where they set up the next event, and that was that. So let's see what we have here. We'll expand this one out for you. And this looks like the sandbag throw for distance. So the interesting thing is, it looks like there wasn't a restriction on technique because some folks were and this gray shirt, the back, that's who I believe is Gran Higa. So when I said I think I saw a Higa monster, that's what I was talking about. Anyway, like some of these competitors are doing it backwards. This one on the left seems like it's like a shovel throw. Some of them are doing it back over their head. So it seems like, whatever you think and this one is this competitor is doing a spinning technique like a shot putter would do, or even more so like a discus thrower would do. That's really interesting there, how they basically had free reign of whatever technique you think works best, go for it. So that was a sandbag throw. And then if we scroll up a bit, we have more sandbag throwing here. And let's see if they have, here we go, the last event. I love charisma. Definitely love charisma. There's the stone over bar. Okay. Some big stones there. Here you go. So here's a stone over bar in mid lift. And let's see if we scroll toward the end, if we can see any of the pros. And there you go. So there you go. Those were that's where you can see it. So Tyler says, I can't wait to surprise everyone with how well my super yoke has come along. I manage 1,000 pounds for 15 feet. That's no joke. Wow. Not videoing it until the next contest. Yeah, don't show anybody. That's a lot of the pros do it that way. Logically built, that is Gran Higa. He comes to all their local contests. Gran Higa is well known for being super helpful and, being there for others and doing everything he can to help the strongman community. So just more proof of what a great guy he is. And also, incidentally, incredibly strong. But yeah, so let's give that, there we go. Okay, so now it looks like it's going to let me show the pro men's results, and then we'll wrap it up after that for the evening. So let me go ahead and share that. Not sure what was going on with the spreadsheet earlier, but here you go. So your pro competitors ended up being Bob Moyer, Jasper Haney, Lucas Hatton, Josh Reynolds, Trevor Simoncena, Josh Hatfield, and Brett Thompson. So the Axel Clean and Press Away was won by Josh Reynolds with 7 reps, with Brett Thompson coming in second and Lucas Hatton coming in third there. Axel Deadlift Medley, as we just saw, was kind of loading your own weights, which the highest weight was 950 there, so no joke of a weight there. And that one was taken by Josh Hatfield, second place Brett Thompson, and third place Jasper Haney. Moving into that sandbag throw for distance that we just saw, that was taken by Brett Thompson. Second place went to Lucas Hatton, and third to Josh Hatfield, who incidentally is Gorilla Guy on Instagram. If you have not followed him, you should definitely give him a follow. Great post by Josh Hatfield. First place in the Yolk Keg Sandbag Medley went to Josh Hatfield, so he's making a run here. Second place went to Josh Reynolds, and third place to Lucas Hatton. We then go to the Trump Stone over bar for reps, which we just most recently saw the video of, and that was won by Josh Hatfield. Second place, a tie with Trevor and Brett Thompson, with 1 rep apiece, 2 for Josh. And so the ending overall standings ends up to be Brett Thompson taking the men's pro-am with Josh Hatfield in second place, Trevor Simoncena in third, Josh Reynolds in fourth, Lucas Hatton in fifth place, Jasper Haney in sixth, and Bob Moyer in seventh place. Again, here, at least a handful of guys that I have to now make sure that I'm following after seeing these types of performances. So thanks again for joining my Block Strongest Man this evening. I really do appreciate you jumping on to get your source for Rainier Classic, the inaugural 2021 Rainier Classic results and recap show. Thanks for joining me this evening. Make sure you like this stream if you haven't yet. Make sure to subscribe if you've liked everything you've heard here. Spread the word to everybody you know. Check out my new membership. Do all the good stuff. Check out my Block Strongest on Instagram. Find me anywhere you can find me. And of course, as always, until next time, ciao, homie.